Hello, my name's Colin Aitkenhead. I'm one of the Microsoft consultants at Chess, and I'm here with Chris Williams from Microsoft. And what's your role at Microsoft, Chris?
Cool. Thank you very much, Colin. And hello, everyone, for catching this. My name, Chris Williams. I work in our channel sales organization, one of our channel managers for modern work and security, helping partners like Chess help customers with their digital transformation, specifically with our modern work and security solution.
Later today, we're going to record a session which goes into all the details about Copilot. And there's a lot of attention, a lot of interest in Copilot just now. But there's different types of Copilot, isn't that right, Chris?
Correct. Yeah, there's 9 Copilots in the works, I think, at last count. And the one that we're going to cover off later on is Microsoft 365 Copilot. But for organizations, there might be requirements around other similar capabilities within other solutions that we've got, such as Power Platform, Dynamics, Security, Viva. There are various different Copilots, GitHub for those coders. But the one we'll talk about is Microsoft 365 Copilot. And I think here, if I think about all of the different Copilots that are in the works currently, Microsoft 365 Copilot is, you're right, that's the one that's garnering most of the conversation. Because if we think about all of the people utilizing the Office applications, Teams, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, there are so many people that are going to be able to benefit from that solution. I think that's why it's interesting, so many people.
And what we'll talk about later on is the release timetable for Microsoft Copilot. But having had a sneak preview, the interaction with it is very similar to the Windows 11 Copilot, which is you're on the Insider version of Windows 11 you can access at the moment. So it seems to be that it sort of talks to you and explains to you what it's doing. Is that a sort of fair analysis of it?
Yeah, absolutely. You engage with the engine through natural language. You can make grammatical mistakes. You engage with it and talk to it maybe as if you would, if you were instructing a colleague or somebody within your team to go and do something. It's an extension of an individual's team, essentially. And if they don't have a team, they've now got a team member, they've got a Copilot. So yeah, you interact with it through natural language, but it responds to you in the same manner as well.
Yeah, and you don't need to type things in. Is that true of 365 Copilot? You can use a microphone as well.
Yeah, you've got the ability to be able to use microphone. I think a lot of people typically will utilize the ability to be able to type through. I've been using Bing Chat Enterprise for a while now, and Bing Chat Enterprise has the capability to use the microphone option. But typically, I'm typing in. But yes, there are various different capabilities in terms of engaging with it. But I think the predominant one people will use will still be that keyboard, physical keyboard, get typing to instruct it as you see fit.
Okay, and just talking about Windows 11 Copilot, do you think this is a sort of next stage in search engine technology and the development of search engines?
Definitely. I mean, if you see, not that it's a search engine, but if you see the engagement with the capability around ChatGPT, and we'll talk a little bit later on to it in terms of how quickly individuals have flocked to that technology to engage with it. We've seen massive uptake in terms of Bing Chat and Bing Chat Enterprise. The ability through natural language to search the internet, gain additional outcomes, pull in information from multiple websites, whether it's from a personal perspective or whether it's from a business perspective through Bing Chat Enterprise. Yes, it's definitely the next evolution as to how people engage with the World Wide Web, internet. So yeah.
So to go back to Microsoft 365 Copilot, having seen a preview of it, there's lots and lots of potential benefits and time-saving efforts that a business can accrue from it. Have Microsoft had a stab at trying to estimate any sort of time-saving or return on investment from it?
There hasn't been anything published yet with regards to Copilot and the findings from the private preview, and typically what is the time saving that is being seen within individuals, within organisations. So there hasn't been anything published yet. But I think the way in which individuals are kind of flocking towards wanting to understand more about Copilot, seeing the capabilities and wanting to learn and understand more. I think in a lot of customer conversations that I have, they're already being able to see the benefit. One of the things I think I'll talk to later on is a scenario that I found myself in a few months back, where my darling wife was engaging in transferring information from a Word document into a PowerPoint to create a training document for people to utilize within the organization she works within. That took hours. So whether it's doing that or triaging your inbox, prioritizing the meetings that you attend, or using the follow feature so that you get a recap from Copilot and then can engage with Copilot to understand more about that summary that it provides you, because it has access to all of that, all of the capabilities that are there. A lot of the customers that I'm speaking to are already seeing the value and the time that it will save. So we've not released anything yet as an official study in terms of the time saving we expect individuals in organizations to save. I think a lot of customers can already see the amount of time based on their organization as to how it will save finance, HR, sales, marketing, the various different elements of the business.
Or could an alternative way be looking at it is that you're not spending mundane, repetitive tasks trying to analyze spreadsheets and use formulas, for example, but it's able to deliver the results and you can use the quality time to analyze the information? Is that one way of looking at it?
Absolutely. As much as people may love to put formula into Excel and pivot out information and data and create a PowerPoint based on information over here, that's not the fun part of the job, particularly for most people. The fun part of the job is engaging with colleagues, engaging with customers, having conversations, expanding your capability through development and picking up additional responsibilities. And that's sometimes hampered. Those things are sometimes hampered about the requirements of a job. But if AI can help you get to that outcome that you need in order to go and do those things that you enjoy most quicker, that again will provide value. Absolutely.
So my understanding is that Microsoft 365 Copilot will be released on November the 1st, but to organizations that have an enterprise agreement, and they need to purchase at least 300 Copilot licenses. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we announced on the 26th of September, I think it was, there was an event in New York where we talked about general availability of Microsoft 365 Copilot for enterprise customers on Microsoft 365 E3 or E5. But you're right, the clarity that sits behind that is for customers on an enterprise agreement that have those Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 licenses already in those users they wish to attach the license to. And at the moment, there's a minimum commitment of licenses required. More wider availability for a lot of the customers within the UK jumping on to catch this session. We'll learn more in the next couple of months, next few months, the more wider availability of Copilot for the remainder of the customers, a lot of the customers in the UK. But yeah, you're right. That's the clarity that sits behind the announcement that was on September the 26th.
So potentially, using my terminology, it'll be released in sort of stages and waves, but it's, sorry.
No, that's exactly right. I would say that's maybe a really good way to look at it. This to your point, is wave one. And there will be more wider, because we have already been public in the availability that Copilot will be able to be attached for Microsoft 365 Business Standard, Business Premium, and Microsoft 365 E3 and E5 customers. Now, if you're on an enterprise agreement, you can't buy Business Standard or Business Premium. That's not available on an enterprise agreement because they're not enterprise licenses. They're SMB licenses. So you're right, the way in which you're viewing it, in terms of the wave approach, yes, you could view that this is wave one, and more information about that next wave will be in hopefully the next couple of months.
Yes, but it sounds like a very impressive, very effective tool, but it's not something that you just buy in day one and you realize the benefits from that. There's some preparatory steps that you need to do. Is your advice that this would be a good time for organizations, if they're interested in Copilot, to start carrying out these tasks so that they can hit the ground running?
Yeah, and you're right. I think for a lot of customers, I think that what we previously advised is really no different to what we would advise now, is get ready for AI. And I'll talk a little bit later on to it now, but I'll also talk about it here, is that data governance. So Copilot will understand through the Microsoft Graph securely within your environment, doesn't train the model, your data is your data, but it will understand your data. And it will give individuals in the organization the ability to, where a reference document, so I mentioned earlier about create a PowerPoint from this Word document. But the important thing to here to think about in terms of that preparation, if you will, that get ready for AI, is understanding data governance in the organization. So access control on SharePoints, ensuring that individuals within specific departments or specific individuals across departments, however that structure is needed, have access to the right SharePoints. It's not wide availability. And then more granularly, information protection at the document level, so that if unintentionally a document is moved from one SharePoint to another location with information protection, that protection follows the document. So that again, when we're protecting the document so that only certain users in the organization have access to it, whether they're finding it or whether Copilot is being asked to look for information relating to something and reference a document, they've seen the name of that document on a screen somewhere. If they don't have the rights in which to view that document, the rights in which to view that SharePoint, Copilot's not finding it for them. So really the preparation is ensuring that data governance is in place. I think one of the things as well to think about here is this is new for so many different organizations, that, prompting, engaging in an engine. Normally when you go to a search engine, you type in a few words and it returns that keyword search. But with Copilot, with large language models, you engage through natural language. So understanding the art of prompting is going to be new for organizations. How do they get ready for that? And that there are things that businesses can do now, and that's Bing Chat Enterprise. For those Microsoft 365 Business Standard, Business Premium, Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 customers, for those users, they can switch Bing Chat Enterprise on now. Your commercial data is protected, but for individuals in the organization that maybe want to get familiar with the art of getting large language model to go and drive an outcome for them, Bing Chat Enterprise is something that organizations can use now. That's available to go and switch on at a user level, at a group level, or organization wide. And the bonus is for those users on those licenses I mentioned, there's no additional cost. So that's another thing that can be done to get ready. How do we prepare to use this technology? Yes. Start using some of the capabilities that are there already.
And could it be true that organizations, and you mentioned Microsoft 365 E3 and E5, that have a lot of these features like Windows information protection and data loss prevention features as part of it, but customers may be buying the licenses and maybe don't have those features fully configured? Is that a possibility?
The unfortunate circumstance around that, Colin, is yes, there are occasions where I've engaged with the customer and they've got the capabilities within their portfolio and they're currently not being utilized. So, really making sure that you're maximizing that Microsoft 365 investment, regardless of Copilot, is paramount. If we look at the cost of doing business is higher than it has ever been. Making sure that you're utilizing that IT investment to the maximum is paramount, and utilizing all of those things and more. Endpoint protection, endpoint management through Intune, all of the capabilities, utilizing them is paramount. And one of the things that can be done here, and Chess can help their customers in order to gain access to, is we offer funded assessments for customers to help them understand their security positioning, their vulnerability. What vulnerabilities do we find through an assessment, and how do they remediate those vulnerabilities? We've found 17,000 files on a SharePoint that the SharePoint is unprotected and those files are unprotected. That's a risk to your business. You need to switch on access control, and you need to think about information protection. The good news is you're already a Microsoft 365 customer or a business premium, or you've got it already in your licensing, switch that capability on. So there are things that can be done. Again, those assessments, Chess can help their customers pull on. They don't cost the customer anything. I'd encourage customers, if that sounds interesting, to get in touch with Chess to understand more.
Oh, definitely, we're more than willing to help them. So thanks for that, Chris. I'm sorry for putting you in the spot for potentially some awkward questions, but I'm sure it's the type of questions that our customers and viewers who watch this question answer would like to get answered. So thanks again for your time and your quality answers.
No worries at all. Thank you, Colin, and thank you all if you caught this session.